years ago, when Street Fighter V came out, I literally was talking about how Street Fighter specifically shouldn't do a story mode. It should basically do an adventure mode that is basically Final Fight with Street Fighter characters as a separate mode, and make it like semi exploratory and like semi open world. I really wish I made the video that I wanted to make, because I had a script written, and I'm actually going to try to find it. Hold on here. Script. And when was this from? 10/14/2020. That's the last time I updated this. We can't lose sight of the fact that fighting games are games. Games are supposed to be fun. Go online and lose a lot until it clicks. Go into practice mode and figure it out, and watch hours of YouTube videos to help you is a difficult pill to swallow, and that doesn't jive with most people. People who didn't grow up in arcades and learn to adapt to that type of thinking. Most gamers just aren't wired that way. Some people are, and that's great. Some people can pick up a fighting game for the first time in an era where arcades are basically dead, and they will take that time. They will be willing to fail until they get it right. That's the exception, not the rule. Tutorials, as they exist now, inundate the player with so much information in such a short amount of time. They give players next to no time to actually use the mechanics or moves they're shown in order to truly understand how they actually work. You go from learning how to walk forwards and backwards to blocking overheads and lows, and then doing special moves, doing supers, doing combos, all within the span of 20 minutes, and then you're done. And then I end up showing like a screenshot of the trophies from various video games where you get like a trophy or achievement for finishing the tutorials. And this is just automatic. You do the tutorials, you finish them, you get the achievement, you get the trophy. And I show screenshots on PS4 of a bunch of different fighting games where the percentage of people who've completed the tutorials it's extremely low. It's really low. People don't play tutorials. That's basically what it comes down to. I put here, as much as Harada pisses me off with his tweets about Tekken's netcode, this is from Tekken 7. I say he has a point when he says nobody plays tutorial modes. But the problem isn't because people don't want them. It's because they don't do enough to teach new players how to actually play the game. That's why I think developers should take advantage of story modes and incorporate an RPG-like progression and leveling system with a vast explorable world based in the game's universe. I was thinking about what games have done this, and the closest thing I could think of to the idea I have is Conquest Mode in Mortal Kombat Deception. This is a game that came out on PS2 and original Xbox as well in 2004, and this mode was actually pretty cool. It wasn't perfect, but I think we can learn quite a bit from it. Where are we at? Right here. I said in modes like this, though, they allow you to do everything the character can do right off the bat, and that's where incorporating the tutorial mode within the game comes into play. In an action game, you start off as a plain Jane character who has a basic skill set and a starting weapon that is sort of useful but won't be effective against higher rank enemies. But by that point, you've been introduced to new concepts and tools, you've learned how to develop strategies, and you've been leveling up so that you are properly equipped to handle new, stronger enemies. Start off by picking whatever character you want, let's say Ryu. Now, Street Fighter 6 went the route of the Avatar, and I think that's awesome. It has the best character creation I've ever seen in any video game ever, period. I say you walk around in third-person action RPG style. You walk around the world, interact with NPCs, unlock side quests, and when it's time to fight, whether it's by happenstance while roaming the world or it's a baked-in encounter, you go through this cool transition animation that throws you into a fight against the CPU. And then I say overlay footage of like Pokemon and like Final Fantasy. And then I say it's like Final Fantasy or Pokemon. So this is really close to how World Tour Mode actually ended up being. And I say also imagine if the game made little cute chibi versions of all their characters a la Dragon Ball FighterZ or Xrd. This is what Tekken 8 ended up doing with whatever the hell that stupid mode is called. So I say you start off with a little bit of a tutorial mode. Sure, you get the here's how to walk forward and backwards, here's crouching, blocking, highs and lows, here are your normals, but No jumping, no dashing, no specials, not even command normals or strings, no combos, no meter, no x-ray or combo breakers, no supers, no bursts, no air recovery, no wake-up attacks or reversals, no iframes, nothing. Literally, walk forward, walk back, block high, block low, standing and crouching normals. 1, 2, 3, 4, jab, strong, fierce, short, forward, roundhouse, light, medium, heavy, A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, that's it. And then I say you fight against an AI that's suited to your moveset, and they're grunts. That's all they are. They're easy to get past, but designed to teach you the concepts over time, like blocking and block punishing, etc. With the character only being able to walk forwards and backwards, block, use their normal attacks, you can introduce concepts like footsies, block punishing. The AI will block almost everything you throw at it. It'll punish you when you're minus, even when you whiff. Slowly, you'll learn how to approach an attack with purpose, bait for whiff punishes, take advantage of knockdowns and plus frames, learn the strike-throw dynamic, all those sorts of things. Mashing will be a thing of the past. I say, imagine that for a second. New players trying out a Street Fighter game for the first time in a long time or even ever. And within a couple of hours, they stop doing this. And then I say, insert video of IGN editors playing Street Fighter V with Mike Ross and Combo Fiend coaching them. That video is still embarrassing to this day. It's so embarrassing. Anyway. They say, once you get all this down, new concepts will be introduced. Enemies will now begin to jump. And in my vision here, I say the characters still can't jump, but they'll learn how to anti-air. Jumping is a tasty prospect for new players. You cover a lot of ground quickly, you can attack on the way down. It seems solid, but it's a risk. Okay? How many times have you seen this? And there's footage of me playing MK11 on PlayStation where I'm playing as Sonya against a Shao Kahn player. And they just will not stop jumping. And so I'm just hitting them with the same anti-air over and over again, and that's how they die. If they can learn how to deal with players who are jumping at them constantly before they even learn how to jump, like, while that might seem restrictive, and it probably is a bad idea, I'm not a game developer, but my idea here was that if they learn how to deal with jumpers before they can even jump themselves, then by the time they're able to, they'll understand why sometimes jumping is beneficial, but why most of the time it's a risk. What can be done to them if they jump willy-nilly. Most importantly, because being jumped in on is very frustrating, they can stop that from happening because they will learn how to anti-air effectively. And then I say people hate zoning. Why can't a fighting game teach players how to actually get around it? And I say the more I thought about this, the more I felt like I've seen something like this before. And if you're familiar with Core 8 Gaming, then this may sound similar to you too. And they say, in a video called Getting Better at Fighting Games, he talks about a training exercise he developed called sweeps and throws. All you're allowed to do is walk forward and backwards, block, sweep, throw, tech throws, that's it. So he notes that it levels the playing field, and while the best players will still win, the discouragement that comes with getting comboed into oblivion is effectively gone. Keeping it simple allowed the players to pick up on the right things to do in certain situations, allowing them to make decisions rather than just mash. And because matches are still played in a best 2 out of 3 rounds, the players were still having fun. That's what he says in his video. I say, the last thing is key to me. Games are supposed to be fun. Learning how to play fighting games should be fun for people who don't find it fun to play the way most of us learn how to play. And then I'd say, check the video out. Gerald is an absolute beast. He probably articulates what I'm trying to communicate way better than I ever could. That's true. You should still watch that video. In fact, even if you've seen the video, go back and watch it again. That channel is amazing. Subscribe to it immediately. I say now how to incorporate special moves and super moves and how the player can level those up over time has been something I've been struggling with. I came up with a solution to this that I think would work very well. Let's say the damage of Ryo's Hadouken in the new Street Fighter is just 60. It's just 60 damage. When you're in a real match against a human, Hadoukens will just always do 60 on hit. When you're in the when you earn the move in World Tour mode, it would do, I don't know, 1/10 of that. And by the time you upgrade the Hadouken to 20%, it'll do its full, to 20%. By the time you upgrade the Hadouken to 100%, it'll do its full 60 damage. The player isn't just learning how to play the game effectively, they're also leveling up their character to where they play at 100% power and potential as in the real version. A fully upgraded and powered up character in the story mode is the normal way the character will play in the rest of the game, like in training mode, in offline versus, in online ranked and casual modes, whatever else. And something I like Street Fighter 6 did was they allowed avatar battles. That was actually really cool. That's really good for the casuals. I say, the reason why throwing a Hadouken in story mode would only do 6 damage, won't feel like it's nerfed, is because early enemies will have 100 hit points. When they get enemies with more health, they'll see the Hadouken doing less damage on their bar, and that's the incentive to upgrade it. So let's also have the introduction of special moves coincide with encounters that encourage the most effective use of that move. When he gets his Shoryuken, for instance, let's have him fight against characters who have advanced air options that beat normal anti-airs that the player has been using up to this point. I also think it would be great to have a limited slot for moves. Maybe you have 3 specials unlocked, but you only have 2 slots to equip them. This sounds restrictive, but remember that this is only for this mode, and new players won't really know what's being kept from them. They don't have legacy skill and knowledge. My vision is for a player that has all 3 specials unlocked with Ryu. Shoryuken, Hadouken, Tatsu. Okay, forget Donkey Kick for a second. They decide to go with Hadouken and Tatsu. They come across the boss of the current level, Cammy. Cammy uses EX Drill and Spinning Knuckle to get past the Hadoukens. Uses EX Dive Kick to stuff the grounded normal moves that the player has learned to anti-air with up to this point. Damn, my fireballs aren't doing shit. I'm being hit out of my crouching fierce and standing roundhouse. Wait a minute. I remember seeing that Shoryuken is a powerful anti-air and has invincibility on startup. I've played Dark Souls before. I know what iframes are. That sounds like it would be useful here. Create an environment that allows players to connect the dots in a way that is intentional and feels organic. Sometimes it will be organic. That's like, I don't know. I just feel like World Tour could have done a little bit more like that. They didn't quite do that. Sometimes they do. Like, sometimes they have instances where you have to block a character's overhead and they also have a low move, so they'll run at you and do a low, then they'll run at you and do an overhead where they jump for a really long time, and then boom, you have to block it high. And so you have to learn, okay, that kind of teaches you block by holding down back, and then confirm that you're seeing that they're about to do the overhead, which gives you enough time to react, and then stand block. You don't have to react to the low. You're already doing the option that beats the low option. You can react to the overhead stand block. That stuff's kind of cool. They have the drones flying around that teaches you that, like, oh, in order to hit a character, or in order to hit the drone that's floating here, I'll have to do like a Shoryuken or something, right? Or I'll have to jump and hit them. But it doesn't necessarily teach you how to anti-air. Like, characters do jump, but it's not constructed in a way that gets you used to the fact that, like, oh, when I see someone jumping at me, I got a Shoryuken then. I feel like it's just the same as going online and someone's just jumping a lot and you're getting blown up by it. I feel like it could have been constructed more in a way that teaches you, hey, when you see this happen, but not with text on the screen. That's really difficult to do. And if I had to develop a game, I don't know if I could do that effectively. So far be it for me to criticize. You know, I think World Tour mode's amazing, but this is just more like construct the mode in a way that the players are putting these lessons together in their head, and then it instills to them those proper fundamentals and good habits. And I do still think games should be doing this. And I think that Street Fighter 6 could have done it better in terms of the tutorial aspect, you know, in terms of developing good habits. Because I play in avatar battles, and the only reason that people can beat me is because my avatar is level 27, and I don't have access to any of my drive moves, and I only have 2 super meters to use, so I can't even use level 3. I do shit damage. They do literally 1 OD special move, and it does 60%. That's the only reason they can beat me. They still have bad habits. They still don't know how to anti-air, so I get away with jumping against them. They still don't understand the concept of block when you're waking up. And I constantly, I don't even have to hit them with meaties. I just have to like sweep them and then wait for them to get up and then sweep them again. Just like when I'm playing against my younger cousins in Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo. I just sweep them over and over again. The World Tour mode is great for casuals in a way that it gives them something other than playing against another human being that they can do to have fun. But it doesn't teach them how to play the game the proper way. And when I mean the proper way is, I mean the way that it was intended to be played, against another human being, where the characters are just what they are. It's not Avatar Battle, it's Guile versus Cammy. It's JP versus Kimberly. World Tour mode doesn't teach them how to do that still, because if you go and play Avatar Battle, if I cared enough to finish World Tour mode and bring my character up to 100% and give them max health and give them the power level that all of the casuals that I play against in Avatar Battle have, I would never lose. And the only reason I play Avatar Battle is because I want drive tickets, because it's like, oh, play 5 Avatar matches, you get 500 drive tickets. It's the only time I ever jump into Avatar Battle. There are multiple times where people have beaten me in Avatar Battle, and then in a nice way, I'm like, hey, that was actually really fun. Those are some good matches. You know, thanks for playing with me. You want to hop onto a Battle Hub match and play some real matches like the normal way? And a couple of them have said, yeah, I was using Guile and I was like 4-star platinum or 5-star platinum or something. And it was, I think it was a Jamie player. It wasn't even close. I think maybe they took like 1 or 2 rounds, but they demolished me in Avatar Battle. Not because they're better than me, but because their avatar was level 100 and had 30, 100 million, 1,000 health. And my avatar was like level 20 something and had like 12,000 health. So literally I would die in like 2 or 3 special moves that they happened to hit me with. My idea here is very similar. I mean, right down to calling it World Tour mode, right down to having it be a third-person action-adventure RPG style mode, you know, right down to having the NPCs and, you know, having to fight like the actual characters from the games, whatever, being able to equip special moves and things like that. They took it way farther by having it be a mishmash. That's a cool idea. A lot of the stuff they did with it was really cool. So I just feel like it's really funny how I predicted this shit like 4 years ago. And actually longer than that, because this is just when I wrote down the script. I've been thinking about something like this for a really long time. I think I've been thinking about this specifically probably from like 10 years ago. And I really wish I made that video. I really wish that I would have made this as a video, because if I made this in 2020 and then Street Fighter 6 came out and World Tour mode came out, oh my god, that would have been absolutely crazy. That would have been absolutely crazy. Like, this is just it, man. I talk about how most gamers are casual, something I've been saying for years. One-on-one online environment against another opponent where anything goes doesn't foster a proper way of thinking where you learn, strategize, and solve your problems. But a single-player mode where you're fighting against a boss can. It said does, but I said it can. Why wouldn't we put this in the game for the 70+% of people who actually buy fighting games, rather than making the tightest link in Street Fighter be 3 frames instead of 1? That's another thing. I go through and say, instead of changing the mechanics to where the execution is more lax, why don't we just do something like this? Because I think something like this would go a longer way in teaching new players how to actually get into the game than taking away 1 frame links. You know? Yeah, I don't know. I just, I'm not going to read the rest of this, but I do, man, I wish I would have made this video.